What's the deal, YouTube? It's your girl, Miss Honey. Welcome back to the channel, you guys. It is your girl, Miss Honey, here for the series finale of Greenleaf. This is season 5. This is the 8th episode and final episode for the entire series, and it is entitled Behold. Now, you know, this entire season, 8 episodes, each episode was like, you know, day 1, day 2, day 3, all the way to day 7, or the 7th day. And now this last episode is called Behold, and it opens with May there laying next to Bishop's body in the bed. He seems to have moved up a bit in the bed, and you know, it's an emotional moment. She seems to have calmed herself and gathered herself and was able to center herself, you know. And she gets her ring box out, and the ring he was gonna give her, she puts it on her finger, and then she gives him a little kiss, you know, on the chin. And then she stands up and walks out of the room and gives him a little pat on the leg, you know. And she walks up on Grace, and Grace had just finished talking to Sophia. Nothing really was resolved in that conversation at all. They didn't even get to talking good before Grace got a phone call. And on that phone was a lady from 2020. And evidently she been hot on Grace's trail, trying to give her this job. She got some positions for women of color in New York, child, and she wants to fill these positions, and Grace is just the person for the job. You know, it's not often that people call you, you know, and chase you down for a job. And we see all throughout this episode the lady just steady buzzing Grace's phone. You know, Grace needed a minute. She didn't know at this time that her daddy was dead, but she needed a minute to think about it, you know. So Lady Mae walks in, and Grace looks at it, and she just can tell something is off here a little bit. Mama, what's going on, right? Now, you know, last week Lady Mae called Amalam. Now she must have called Amalams and told them not to come, to send the hearse around there. But most time the Amalam like to come, right? You know. She had hollered for Grace, and Grace didn't hear her, and neither did Sophia. So it must have been a few minutes, you know, and May had a chance to collect herself, but she can still see something is wrong, right? Mama, what's going on? And then it cut to all of them, all of the siblings and the grandgirls, I believe, and May. They all gathered around Bishop's body in the bed. Now by this time they done pulled him high up in the bed. You know, he practically sitting up in the bed now. And they all gathered around him, child, and laying hands on him and crying. Sophia down there, she just is weeping and tears everywhere. And Zora, you know, she done been through a lot. Of Mama and Daddy ain't getting back together, and now Granddaddy dying, you know. It's a hard thing. And then we cut to the burial. Child. They had him some beautiful purple and white flowers. They did the same thing like what they did for Faith, you know. They gathered down there on the family land, child, and they had to gave that property to Tara. I don't know what Tara would have did with them family bodies down there on that land. You know what I'm saying? You can't just up and move bodies, but I mean, you can have them move, but it ain't easy. It ain't easy, right? You got to have a place for them to go. All of this, right? But them too many details. Listen, They had it set up there with the beautiful flowers and old silver fox casket, and it was real pretty, nice and shining. It had purple and white flowers on it, child, and then all of them had flowers. And then you saw Noah, and then standing off from Noah a little bit was AJ, and then Sophia was hugged up with her mama, and I believe Carissa was there. And Carissa looked real pretty this episode. She really did. She didn't look half as evil as she normally does, right? She was hugged up on Zora, just giving her lots of comfort and things. And Maid was there, and she holding it together, still she not boo-hoo crying, but she's very stoic with it. And Jacob, got Winky Dink, Charity there. She the only one that ain't hooked up with nobody, but we saw her daddy friend, the one that liked to pay for hookers and stuff. The one that owned the funeral home, that wanted Charity to come around there and be a comforter at the funeral home. He was there. So they child, I don't know, it must be automatic, child. The casket just started going down in the ground. I said, well, where the people the graveside people, they usually the ones that let it down, but it must be like a button you push or something to let the body down into the casket. I always thought the graveside people did that, but this at their homestead, right? So the casket go down, child. They done put them flowers on there, and they done touched it. It's all very moving. It's all very touching. Now the repast is being held at the house. Marisol cooked for the repast, okay? The same thing they always have. Y'all know they always have lots of pastries, alcohol, and we don't get this. Oh, no. Everybody was sitting around the table, I think including Carissa, now for the repast. And AJ started the conversation off, talking about he seemed funny to miss somebody, that you barely even knew. May keep looking down there at the end of the table down there. That's where Bishop sat, at the head of the table. And it's a somber moment, but they start each one. Jacob. This was really Grace's episode. So Grace got to tell, her memories in long form, and Jacob gave a short memory or two. We didn't hear from Charity now, and at this time, but May did get a phone call, and she had to step away for a second. So they was all able to get a memories, Everybody except Charity. Well, May get the phone call. The phone call is from the deacon board down at the church, child. Now, they done kicked Connie out too. Connie is no more. She's gone. Connie left with Hope and Mayonnaise people. And they done moved everything back in the church, child. There's no more demolition. They done moved everything back in the church. The church is a buzzing. All the furniture, everything is back there in the church. It's just like Calvary season 1, day 1. Except Bishop ain't there, and May ain't there, and the family has been ousted. But this why she calling. She says she want May to come and lead worship service. That's what I heard. Now, I must have misunderstood because May coming back to preach, and she said, well, we want to honor Bishop and everything, and of course they asked her how she was doing, and they miss Bishop and all of that. I said, well, they must have had a separate service for Bishop. You normally when you a bishop and you high up in the rankings, you have your funeral be 3-4 days long, child. The viewing alone is about 2 days, You got to have people fly in and come in, and you have your grand singers, and you had a liturgical dance, you know what I'm saying? And they didn't even ask me to do usher board. They didn't even have ushers. Everybody was just treated like one of the crowd, child. But they was back in full force. They want her to come down, and she get back to the table. By this time, they done made a toast to the bishop, all the kids and stuff, and um, like I said, they called down there from Calvary. They want her to come and lead the worship service. That's what I heard. That's what I heard. But so let's see. So AJ, as we go along, everybody comes sort of full circle and kind of starts their new journey into what they're going to do next. Now the bishop is gone and they got the church back and all is right with the world. They done ran Bob off to the hills. Turns out he wasn't much of a foe at all. He was more like a little distraction, I guess, just to bring them all together. I'm assuming, it ain't even no court battle, which is good, and so AJ has decided that he is gonna go ahead and finish that car and build that car out. That's what Bishop would want him to do. We don't see it happen. We don't still know what all is in that box from 45 years ago, but he said he gonna build it out. And then Noah done got a job down there as a director of campus security at the local college, and they standing in the house where he done put down on the house, I guess, and in escrow or closing or something. I don't know. He got the key to the house, and he got Grace and AJ down there, and he say he bought it for AJ, and he want AJ to have a place that he can call home. Meanwhile, AJ back there, he on the phone and he talking to the doctor, and he come over and share the good news about his T-cell or A91 counts or something is in the highest level, and it's awesome, and he feels magnificent, and I guess he in good standing, with his health and everything. It's good news, and Grace is hallelujah. She is so excited about that, and she said, you went to the doctor, you tried the doctor, and he said, no. Did she say thank you? No, I think what it was that Noah, she was like, y'all gonna be real happy here, and Noah was like, I thought we could be here. You could stay here too. You could live with us too until you can find you a place, right? And she passed that over. Now he done invited her to come down there and live at his mama house, and now he done went and bought a house. He's still inviting her to come live and stay with him. Grace is not answering that question. She act like she don't hear it every time. And she say thank you. I think that's when she said thank you, and then AJ say I should be thanking you. You got me the great doctor, and they hug, and can I hug you? Can I hug you? And it's a touching moment. He hugs her deeply and longingly and lovingly, child. And then he walk her out to the car, and she get a call from Darius. Darius been trying to get in them britches ever since she went down there to ask him a favor. He been working on getting in them britches ever since then, getting back with her, And child, on the way out, Darius done called, and he wanted to know who that was, and she didn't want to answer, and that must be Darius. When am I gonna get to meet Darius? And he just said how he was wanting to, scrutinize him a little bit and rake him over the coals, make sure he good enough for his mama. At the same time, Grace is backing out, and they really showing us a lot of these Buicks. Buick is one of their biggest sponsors, and she, every time she get in the car, she got to make an adjustment and do some stuff so you can see like some of the gadgets and the who's it what's is that make the Buick so special. It's a lovely vehicle. It really is a lovely vehicle. And she back on out, and I don't know why I kept feeling like it was gonna be an accident. I don't know if it's because she was checking the rear view and showing you the rear camera or what. Even when at the end, I kept saying it feel like something else supposed to happen, right? But y'all tell me what you think. Did you get that feeling? Were you waiting, anticipating for a shoe to drop at some point somewhere? Like, I don't know. We're so used to, people showing up or there being these sort of cliffhangers. It's kind of weird to have everything kind of wrapped up and there's no cliffhangers, there's no real drama per se, that type of thing. It's a little off-putting. Then we see Jacob, and he playing checkers with himself. Now most of the time for the most of the episode, they all wear all black, which is supposed to denote mourning. Again, they mourning amongst themselves. We don't really see them mourning with people from the church. Ain't nobody bringing no plates over, no pops. You know what I'm saying? People normally bring you food, casserole. They fill your refrigerator up with food you ain't gonna eat because you ain't got much of an appetite anyway. But you don't really see any of that. You don't see people milling around and hugging them and consoling them and encouraging them. You don't see all of that. It's just them all together. And really for the first time we kind of seeing them all together, like amicable and everything. But anyway, Jacob's up there, he's still in his suit, and Carissa putting Winky to bed, child, like they still happily in love. And she want to leave him there for a couple of days while she look for a house. Apparently her mama live a good distance away, so he offers, when he finds out that she gonna stay at the hotel before she travel on to her mama's house or whatever, I don't know, child, look for a house, whatever. And she say, Jacob, not Jacob, ain't nobody asking for you for no booty, Carissa. Ain't nobody trying to get in your britches, Carissa. Just cause you look cute and you done got your hair cut down and some of that brassiness taken out of it, and they done cut some of that strong contouring so your jawline don't look so sharp and your cheekbones don't look like Rocky Mountain edges, and you look halfway decent, don't mean somebody trying to get in your pants, Carissa. And he was like, no, I don't mean that. I don't mean it like that. She said, well, I'm gonna leave cause it ain't good for Winky and it ain't good for you either. So he fine with that, whatever. Leave the boy for 2 days, that's fine. And when she get ready to go out the door, she looks back and she says, Jacob, maybe this is our happy ending. This is what it looks like. And he was like, yeah, I know. Go on. I tried to do something nice for you and you didn't want to. Go on, child. Anyway, that's supposed to be Jacob's kind of lamenting and remorsing, I guess, over the breakup. I don't know. And we see with Sophia and Zora and AJ, they down at the cabin. They want to know about it. Sophia started to question, wonder what death is like. Sophia gives her scenario. It was actually a pretty good scenario. I enjoyed Zora's scenario. And then Sophia's scenario, her scenario is all her perspective is always kind of lackluster. Sophia is she's just anticlimactic. You know what I mean? She's had all of these sort of highs in the series, and then it just kind of goes nowhere. It's like one of those fireworks. Everybody's like, oh, where's the pop? No pop. That's Sophia. She's got no pop. She thinks it's like going to sleep, child, and you don't even know it. It's a nice thought. And just the juxtaposition as to how both characters think. Zora is always kind of a little bit more elaborate, and Sophia just a little no pop. And then they say, AJ, what do you think death is like? He said, I don't know. I'm too busy enjoying living. I said, ooh, y'all should have let AJ preach. AJ done brought a word, child. AJ done brought a word, honey. I'm too busy living to worry about dying. Oh, okay, so then we see where Darius and Grace all curled up and cuddled up like a couple of kitty cats with wine. And he got all hugged up. I guess Darius is the one she really wants to be with, because every time Noah bring up living together or being together, child, she act like he ain't even talking. But Darius giving her all the reasons why She should take the phone call from the lady, and she should go to New York, and she should take the job. It's her time to shine. Everybody gonna be fine. Sophia's going on to college, and why not take it? And she said, "What about you?" And he said, "Well, I'll accompany you." She said, "Well, you will follow me?" And he said, "I ain't gonna follow you now, okay?" All right, now I will accompany you. And she got all soft and squishy inside, child. That was all she needed to hear. She just needed to hear that he would come with her. And Darius put the wine down, put a wine glass down, put his wine glass down, and he get on up under that thing, child. Like he finally gonna get everything that he wanted, which was a little piece of grace, right? And her undivided attention away from that doggone family, right? Then we see where May gathers the kids the next day and tells them about what the church want. And she want everybody there, everybody together for this moment. And Charity say she was gonna sing. I said, well, I can, maybe she wanted to. I don't know. I thought she just wanted her to do. She said she lead worship. That's what the lady said when she called her that. Y'all tell me if I'm wrong, but Charity gonna sing. And I was so proud of her because through this whole episode she was trying to preach. She was trying to, she was trying to get emotional and lay hands and stuff. But she ended up doing what she always do, which is sing, and it was fine. And Grace getting a call again. She getting a call again from the lady at 2020, and the lady want to answer quick, but Grace is still not sure, even after that conversation she had with Darius. Then we see May down at the church. Like I said, they done moved everything in. That Bishop's old office, they moved every stitch and piece that was in Bishop's old office. Now. Bishop left and Grace took over. Grace had it for a season. And then Bob/Phil/Judy had it for a season. And they was able to find everything, Bishop's pictures and books and his chair and his desk and everything, and put it back in there just as it was. It was an emotional moment. And when she walking in the church is a buzz. It is a buzz. And Corinne was telling her, she still can't believe he gone. And again, we didn't see Corinne down to the funeral home. We didn't see her at the repast. It's weird. It's kind of like everything happened and we got there and they was burying him. When we got here, they burying him. Sitting up in the bed dead, and next thing you know, they buried him. May walking in the office and she see it in all of its auspicious glory that Bishop left it in 2 seasons ago, and she need a minute. And Corinne said, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to upset you. She said, just give me a minute and close the door behind you. And then she goes on in and she sits down in one of the chairs, and just kind of contemplates and thinks about, Bishop and how far they come, I guess. I don't know. Then we see where Jacob done went down there to the mission where Tara James is. And she packing up, some of her outreach bags for the people. And he trying to, ask her if she would just give him 3 months before his mama got to move out. I was like, the mama got to move out, Jacob, and so do you. So he goes down there and talks to Tara and give my mama 3 months to get her stuff up and get it out of here. And he give her time, and Tara said, that's fine. She don't have no problem with that. And then she said, well, I've been thinking, Jacob, you've been so open with me and just so forthright with me about everything. Why don't we just call it square? Okay? Why don't we just call it square? And your mama don't have to move, and she don't have to give me the house, and we don't have to worry about all that. Now, there's no mention of Rochelle or Basie or anything. We do get to hear the mention of Tasha's name, but we don't get to hear anybody else from that side of the city. And he thinks it's unbelievable, child. He just, I mean, it's just amazing, how everything is just coming full circle, and all of these new beginnings are able to happen because they just went through so much in this season, in the last 7 episodes, that this is just like a true miracle, child. So then we see where Grace is down at Aaron's office, and she is divvying up all the money. All the money her daddy left her, she divvying up all the money her daddy left her. Her real daddy left her. And she want to be done with it. Ever since she got that money, it ain't been nothing but trouble. It don't bring nothing but trouble. She don't want the money. Okay? Plus she got 2020 calling her. I guess she feel like she gonna be making plenty money. He tells her, ask her what she gonna do next, and Charity done told everybody that they gonna all be associate pastors, and he wondered if she gonna go back and pastor. At the same time, the lady from 2020 calling again, and he want to know what's going on with that, and she tells him. And he gives her this story about how he came out, child, and realized that he didn't have to hide no more being gay, and somehow it kind of correlates to what Grace was going through. But Darius done spoke to her. Now we got Aaron speaking to her, and she's still kind of unsure about what's going on, what she want to do, right? And so then we see where May is studying. Jacob come in to tell her what Tara said. She don't quite know what she gonna speak on yet, but she waiting on the Lord to give her a word, and I think she waiting on Bishop to give her a word as well. He tells her about the Tara situation, that she don't have to move, that Tara don't want the house, and that she can keep the house. And she is so enamored. She just really feels like this is a true miracle. I mean, here we have yet another miracle. She gets to keep the house, The Lord is really moving, right? So then we come to Sunday. It's Sunday service. And I mean, people are flooding in from far and wide. They done had the reopening of Calvary on all the radios, on all the news outlets and everything, and people are flooding in, child, like they coming to be baptized. I mean, they coming from the woods, they coming from the fields, they coming from the parking lot. It's people everywhere. Jacob standing in the vestibule with Winky, and in walked Tara James, and she looked real cute. Do, all dressed up, out of her Mother Teresa garb. And Jacob wanna thank her, for being so generous and giving the house back to his mama, and ask her what she was gonna do. He couldn't believe she was leaving the ministry, and she said, well, I brought everybody down here. I hope that's okay. Listen, they was flirting with each other a little bit. It seemed like to me, she was giving him a little, ooh, you dressed up real nice, Jacob. And he was looking at her kind of the same way. And she went on inside, child. And so then we go inside, and we see Charity up there singing. She liked to get kind of worked up when she sang. When she was giving it to him, she always trying to preach, child. She always got that spirit where she want to try to preach, you know what I'm saying, and get all emotional and you know, sanctimonious and, you know, sanctified and just. So May come up after she sit down from singing, and um, when she come up, you know, she is unsure and she's nervous, and she got her hands folded across, and you know the crowd is kind of tenuous. They, you know, they waiting with bated breath. They don't know what she gonna say, but they got a feeling that the Lord gonna really bring a word. And May walked up there and she was like, oh, and then she was like, oh, yes, God, ah, yes, and they was like, let him use you, May, go on, let him use you. And then she started talking about how she asked Bishop what should she say, and say Bishop told her. You know, she said she feel like she done talked to Bishop more this week than she has talked to him when he was yet still alive. And she said he told her, he say preach something new. And May went on to preach, child. Behold, I'm gonna do a new thing. She came from there, child, and she went upside one side and down the other. It was a nice sermon, you know. And the crowd what was behind them, and they was celebrating her, and Charity was on the edge of her seat. You know, you could look at her face and tell she wished that she had a thought of that sermon, child. All the board members and stuff, they was looking like, May, if you don't preach, you better, right? Old AJ down there in the crowd, child, his eyes just bubbled up with water. You know, he don't like to drop the tears. He like to just hold them there like little buckets or little pools of water in the base of his you know, in his bottom eyelid, and jiggle it. And it looked like an emotional moment, you know, for him. And by this time, the crowd done got up on their feet, and she said, well, she was saying, Lord, make me new. May said, Lord, I want you to make me new. And child, that crowd went to roaring. And then she had them all rallied up, and they was standing up, and they was cheering her on, and hallelujah. And then she made the altar call, child. And when she did the altar call, AJ done came down to the front, and Charity got up and ran down there, and she was gonna be the one to, you know, to witness to him and bring him on in. You know, Bishop did all the hard work, and then May kind of knocked it out the park. But you know, Charity, child, she down there holding his hands and talking in his face, child. You know, always trying to preach, honey, always trying to preach. And Jacob can't even get in real good. He laying hands on him as well. And then Grace was behind him. She had her hands on the shoulder, and then she lifted her hands up to the Lord. You know, they interceding for him, you know. And as he goes to tarry for the Holy Ghost, and he must have got it, you know. Meanwhile, May down there, and they got the peoples is lined up, and she laying on her hands and foreheads and chest, you know, hard touches, right here in the spirit of the thing. You know, you just she laying on hands, and people is slain everywhere, child. So then, at the same time, before they came down for altar call, when it was real raucous, Sophia looked at her mother and said, I think it's time for you to go. And Grace conceded. So now after service is over and AJ is all saved, and she is so grateful that AJ is saved, she go in her mama's office, and her mama mentioned AJ being saved now, and she was saying, thank you, Lord, my son is saved. You know, all the mamas want their sons and daughters and stuff to be saved. You know, that's important. And so May is on a high, kind of, but she recognizes that Grace is there to tell her something. Grace, you're here to tell me something. What is it? And Grace said, it's time for me to go. And she said, no, Gigi, you can't go. I just lost your father, and you got all I got here. You know, Jacob is dumb as a sack of rocks, and and, and Charity gonna be around here trying to slip me some sleepy time tea so she can preach in my stead. I need you here, Grace. And Grace said, Mama, no, it's your time. It is your time. Y'all know May went through that whole rigmarole where she brought Miss Patty LaBelle down to preach and get everybody fired up so she can do Lady May Day. And all of that was because she felt like the Lord was calling her to lead the church. So now she telling her it's your time. That wasn't your time, but now it's your time. And it's her time too to go on and do what she want to do with her own life. Talking about Grace. And May concedes. She understands what she's saying. It's all very, very amicable. And then we see where Grace is leaving. And they gather like they always gather, which was on that front steps with the servants in the background. And Grace looked real cute. She had a driver. She getting ready to go to New York. It's an interview, but they gathering like she moving. It's a trailer and a hitch. Like the U-Haul is going to follow the car out. But she tells everybody, not necessary. I'll be back in a few days, but they want to send her off. And they tell her they know she got that job. Jacob want her to keep an eye on Zora, because Zora is still going to go to New York. I guess she going to live with Grace while she there. And this way she don't have to live in Hoboken. And then, she done hugged Sophia. Sophia done went back up on the steps. And then Charity come out, and here she go. She done grab Grace's hands up, child. And she say, I know God is going to do something wonderful for you. And she touches her face. Oh, because you my sister. I was like, calm down, Charity. Every time you talk, it's not not an opportunity for a sermonette. Charity, nobody's going to ask you to preach, girl. You're my sister and I love you. And she hugs her up. I was like, Charity, you always looking for a moment, child. Where is brother Nate? Where is that little baby Nate? We ain't gonna see Nate? I guess not, child. We ain't seen Nate since day 6 or day 5 or something, child. Anyway, May talks to her and sends her on off, and they, it's a moment for everybody, and May, is the final word. There, of course, Bishop is going on to be with the Lord, and she gets on in the car, and she looks back at him standing out there on this stair, and the driver gets on down, and he was driving a little fast. Now, you need to be slowing down when you're on people's private property. He was driving a little fast. He done got down there halfway and talking about, you Pastor Greenleaf, ain't you? She said, I'm just Grace Greenleaf now. And he asked her if she was okay with that. And I think she said she thinks so. And it goes through the gates, And the gates close, and it's a giant gold G on the black gate. That's the end of it. That's the close of it. And it goes off. Now, that's Greenleaf. After the show, they were going to have like a homegoing service for Bishop online. That was the next show where all of the actors that played characters from the show, I guess, was going to talk about what was next and all they fondness of Bishop. Like he really gone, child. I guess it's for us because they couldn't do a homegoing celebration on the show. Literally, they ended up doing it virtual, where everybody's talking about their favorite moments on the show and behind the scenes stuff, and all of this. It's a feel good moment because they feel like the people is really, really broken up about Bishop and saddened about the show ending and things like that. I did not watch that, of course. I don't see the point. I am interested in knowing what this spinoff is gonna be, what it's gonna look like. They really seem like they favoring Grace's, the actress that plays Grace. So maybe she gonna be in it. Maybe Lady May gonna be in it because Lynn Whitfield did that preaching. Now it wasn't, it wasn't, your normal anointed preaching, but it definitely got the people riled up, and that's what people want. They want to be stirred and down in their bones and stuff. So I wouldn't mind seeing Lady May again. But yeah, that's the end of Greenleaf. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Was there any moments that stood out? Y'all know AJ was giving us nothing but jovial joy. It's always nice when he's in a good mood. A ton of unanswered questions and unfinished storylines and things like that. But I guess they did the best they could with the little bit they had. Y'all tell me what y'all think about this episode. I think Lynn Whitfield did good this episode. What was weird is that Grace got a new beginning and May got a new beginning. We didn't really see a new beginning for Jacob. That wasn't kind of spelled out. We didn't really see a new beginning for Charity. That wasn't spelled out. That may be why her character was trying to be seen and heard in all her scenes, trying to be impactful, child. I don't know. Y'all tell me what you think. How do y'all feel about this episode? I'd love to hear it. Put it down below. You guys remember to keep MizHoney in your prayers. Had a car accident on Saturday, and I am not feeling my best. But I'm glad I was here to bring you guys this review. I'd love to hear your comments down below. Remember to keep me in your prayers. And until next time, honeybees. Mwah, mwah, mwah.